Welcome back, everyone, for our afternoon program. It's so nice to have you all in the afternoon for our discussion on how to face 8 worldly winds. Yeah, in Pali we call Attaloka Dham, or in Sinhala we call Attalo Dham. So today, just before we came here, it was really windy, heavily windy. Did you see that? So when the winds blow, what happened?
We're shaken.
Yeah, yes, everything is moving, everything is shaken. So that's how that's what the wind does, right? So it moves things. It makes things unstable. So in the same way, there are 8 things that happens in our life that if you are not mindful, if you haven't developed skills and inner strength, those 8 things can move us just like a strong winds will blow us to all different directions. Therefore, somehow when it was translated to English, they have come up with this term winds. Otherwise, in Atalodhama or Astaloka Dharma, we simply say that 8 types of Bante, how we
Worldly condition.
worldly conditions. Yeah, 8 types of worldly conditions. But somehow it has been translated to English as 8 types of worldly winds. I think it makes much sense. The good translation in a way. What do you think, Bante? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it carries the meaning, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So we are going to learn about them, and of course, it's quite a common topic. And then maybe before we read that, I would like to start this discussion with a story, very common story. You may have heard this before, but it's worth repeating. I heard the story of the Chinese farmer.
Yes.
Yes,
My
right.
favorite story.
A story, right? Yeah. Would you mind sharing that?
I'm good. The farmer's very neutral now.
so, so this story about a Chinese farmer who had a son and just one horse, and they were cultivating their farm. So he was considered a very poor farmer. So because some other farmers have few horses where they can use to till the ground, land, and and have more cultivation. So this farmer was having this one horse and one teenage son. So early 20, I think early 20s. So they were living together. One day, this horse has left. He has gone from from the farm, and so it is a big problem because the only horse that will help him to prepare the ground, because now they are the season to till the ground, and plowing ceremony is coming. So just near to that, this horse has gone, is lost. So all the villagers came to this farm and said that, "What a pity, and we are so sorry, such a bad luck, we are so sorry that you lost your horse." And the farmer said that, "Good or bad, I don't know. Let's wait." And then all other farmers started to till the ground with their horses. And then after a few days, what happened that while that horse that gone to the forest somehow built friendship with 2 other horses, and this horse returned home with 2 other horses. Now suddenly this farmer got 3 horses. Usually, it's quite expensive to buy a horse. But now this farmer has, 3 horses. I mean, additional 2 horses came with this horse who originally, left. So all of the villagers so excited. They all came back to him and said, "Oh, how lucky you are! Now you get, 2 more horses. If you train them well, you'll be able to, till more ground, and we can have a really good, harvest this time." And the farmer said that, good or bad, I don't know. Let's wait. Let's wait and see. And then so two new horses, so wild, still on just the friendly with the old horse. So this his son started to tame them because you cannot really get them to work unless you tame them. So he's try to jump into their back and try to put you know what you call the what you put on the horse.
Bridle. Bridle.
Yes. So he tried to put them, and what happened after a few days of struggling, and that one horse actually pushed him down. He had a bad fall. He broke his leg. All the villagers again came back to the farmer said, how unlucky, what a pity, how unlucky, I mean, without the help of your son, you will not be able to, start your farming. You start preparing the ground, we are so sorry for you, what a bad luck. And what did he say? Same thing, good or bad, I don't know. Let's wait and see. After a week, now the son is getting treatment. His leg is badly broken. He's taking treatment. He cannot move. So father has to take care of him also. After a week, the army of the country has entered the village. The war has started. The king has made an order. The all able young people are enlisted to be the part of the army. So all the villagers came and went to all homes and took all the young, boys. And when they come to this farmer's house, they check that this son has broken leg. So he was spared, and all other young men was taken to the army. All the villagers again came and told him, "How lucky you are! You were able to save your son." And the farmer said, "Good or bad, I don't know. Let's wait and see." End of the story, but we can continue if you want. So when you listen to this story, what do you think about different things happening in our life? Wait and see. Some things happen in our life are not favorable, and some are favorable. But still, we cannot make a final decision. Is it unfavorable? Right? Any favorable condition can turn it to be unfavorable. Any unfavorable can also turn it to be favorable. But anyway, whether when we live through our life, those favorable things and unfavorable things, agreeable things and unagreeable things will come to us one after the other, one after the other. So usually when we think about these 8 worldly winds, we think about them as like a wheel. The wheel keep rolling, so we will get one unfavorable that time, and next time will be favorable thing, again unfavorable, favorable thing. It may not happen exactly that way, but usually that is how our life goes. So this farmer had the wisdom not to come to conclusion, not to make a judgment about his life, but take everything with equanimity, and then try to face it as it is, and then gradually move through life.
Also, we are saying that everything happens for a reason, and that's great. Another,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So if there's no reason, we can make a reason. We can create a reason. So with that,
What
yes, Bande?
reminds me the story of
Yeah.
the Zen master, right?
Yes,
Because
Bande?
this farmer is a very ordinary. He is
Normal,
successful in that.
Yes.
But in the same thing had happened to the Zen master,
Mhm.
and he was living a very peaceful life in a riverbank in a hut. And then one day, two parents came and accused him, saying, "You impregnant our daughter."
Daughter.
And then I think you have heard this story,
Yeah.
right? And then he said, "Okay, is it so?" Then he said, like in the previous story here, is it so? And he did not know anything, but
Yeah.
accusation is very strong, and he just say, okay, is it so? And then they claim, okay, you must accept the baby, and you must adopt the baby as a punishment for you. They say, okay, is it so? And then he say, is it that? Okay, I'll do. And again, I think after the baby was delivered, then the baby was brought and kept in the temple.
So he had to take
He
care.
had
of
to
it.
take care. And then after a few years, that lady, that girl could not keep that secret. She felt repent. And then she told parents, okay, actually I told lie.
Yeah.
And he is not the person who is responsible. The boy,
Another-
there's another
another
boy. He has ran away from the village. And then in that sense, master, then they say, okay, please excuse us and let us, okay, we will bring back the child, and
yeah.
please give him back. Then
Yeah.
he said, that's so.
Yeah.
And you know that he has come to that psychological transformation after practicing mindfulness and so many things for a long time.
Okay.
But this farmer has attained that same spirituality in a different way of doing, right? What reminds me of the Hermann Hesse's story of the Siddhartha, right?
Yes.
And where there are many paths for the same understanding, right? Some learn it by cultivation in the outside.
Yeah.
Some learn it by
Living. Right?
living and doing mindfulness and meditation, right? And therefore we are always doing different things, but entire life is a lesson, right? And we are learning.
Yeah. Thank you, Bhante. So whenever the baby was brought to him, he accepted with even-mindedness.
Yeah.
Whenever he was clean of the accusation and brought the baby back, but it was still the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that story in the mind, maybe we will read the first part of sutta from here, and this sutta is called Loka Dhamma Sutta, the discourse on the worldly conditions. Can I have a volunteer to read this part? Okay.
Because these 8 worldly conditions revolve around the world, and the world revolves around these 8 worldly conditions. What 8? Gain and loss, disrepute and fame, blame and praise, and pleasure and pain. These 8 worldly conditions revolve around the world, and the world revolves around these 8 worldly conditions.
Thank you, Virya. Yeah. So revolve around the world. So these 8 conditions revolve around the world, and world revolve around these 8 conditions. When you hear the word revolve, that means it keeps rolling. So what are the things that keep rolling? Gain and loss, disrepute and fame, blame and praise, pleasure and pain. So these things keep rolling in our life. So we only so you can see they are like couples, right? So the gain and loss, and then disrespect and fame, blame and praise, pleasure and pain. So these they're like a pair and pair. So good thing about these conditions that they keep rolling. So that's what we need to remember. That whenever we get favorable parts and we get so excited, and so sometime fooled by them, and then we forget the reality of the life, right? And then when we get the unfavorable thing, we get so depressed, so down, and we get disappointed, and and go to the other extreme. But these things keeps rolling, right? And then how we can deal with them, that's the topic today. So can I have another volunteer read the next 3 poems? Can I have another? Yes, thank you, Steve. Yeah.
Gain and loss, disrepute and fame, blame and praise, pleasure and pain. These conditions that people meet are impermanent, transient, and subject to change.
Go ahead. Yeah.
A wise and mindful person knows them and sees that they are subject to change. Desirable conditions don't excite his mind, nor is he repelled by undesirable conditions. He has dispelled attraction and repulsion. They are gone and no longer present. Having known the dustless, sorrowless state, he understands rightly and has transcended existence.
Thank you. So the last verse is about the fully, liberated person. But the second verse is about a person who is practicing. So this is all these 8 conditions are impermanent, transient, and subject to change. That is what we need to remember. Right? That's what we remember, because whenever we have a gain, maybe a big profit or good time in our life, and we get so infatuated, and then get fooled by them, and you forget that actually these things are not going to stay forever. So then we get very conceited and even prideful, arrogant, and then so even though we are having a good time, we actually it working against us in that sense. But if you remember that it's really transient, and we will treasure it, but we will also not use it to judge others, right? And then and not to be fooled by it, knowing that this is not going to be there forever. Same way, whenever we have unfavorable, maybe a loss, or maybe loss of our job, even disrepute, and even blames we receive from others, even with the pain, physical pain we are having. Whenever we are facing these things, because these things can be so powerful, we feel like when we are going through a sickness, when we are going through a bad time in our life, it's so overwhelming. We feel like, oh, this is going to be there forever, this is so big to overcome. And we feel very strong, and we feel very we're very powerless at that time, because the problem, the challenge, the condition that we are going through may be really, really severe. Not a simple thing, of course. So in such situation, sometimes we feel like this condition is so big, so out of my control, and I'm never going to overcome this. And sometimes we may feel like that. But at least, even no matter how powerful, how strong is that condition, we have to have some wisdom, maybe in the deep in our mind, just telling us, no matter how strong, how difficult is the situation, but in principle, nothing is permanent. There should be some change of that condition.
Yeah,
Yes,
you just had a quote that you sent.
Yeah.
Even your friends, loved ones, and stuff will pass away, right? Because everything's impermanent, but eventually, even the sad, angry, and the stuff you suffer from is the good part. Is the day that will also pass away, right? They're also impermanent.
Thank you, Ron, for bringing that. That feeling, maybe sadness, sadness or disappointment, or the heavy feeling that we are having, it can be so strong when we are really going through it. We cannot really wash it off very quickly. Sometimes we have to embrace it and just be with it, because it has its own life. Even our sorrow, even our sadness, even our disappointment or negativity, it has its own kind of lifespan. So we just have to make sure that we don't feed it to lengthen it. And then one good thing is to underneath, you remind yourself that this is going to change. This is not going to be there forever. You don't see any sign of change. You don't see any sign of change. But with wisdom, you should know that, okay, that's okay. I'm going to be with it. But I know that, sooner or later, this is going to change. So that understanding that it is subject to change, though you don't see any change, but the very understanding, very reminder that it is subject to change, can give us the strength to go through it. You can think about your own life, think about your past, the times that you had such difficulties, in your life, think about, I don't know, you may have different things in our life, right? Maybe the period that we had difficulty in finding a job, finding a good work, maybe difficulty at work, right? And
But
then
maybe some memories that we cannot go away from, that is still very strong in
It's
the
strong,
mind.
yeah.
Right? Sometimes some memories are very strong,
yes,
and the bad experiences, maybe, or the people, or the places, or the
yeah,
events.
events, yeah.
But whether we can take it out and just keep it away, if
Away,
not,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. But after we pass that,
Hmm.
we still have those memories, but we have a different relationship with them,
yeah.
right? Yeah. But what I invited you to reflect that when we are going through that difficulty, maybe problem with a relationship, whatever. When we are going through that difficulty, it feels so heavy. It feels so powerless. But now when you think about it, now you think about it, you can write about it. Right? When you are going through it, it's not that fun. But once you pass it, and now we can reflect on it, and we can write about it, or we can talk about it, and it becomes kind of lesson. So everything in our life is like that. Even
It's
something.
absent.
Huh?
It's absent from you. The pain, the suffering is absent. So now you can see with wisdom.
Wisdom, yes. So whenever I am going through some difficulty, uncomfortable experiences, what I remind myself is that I have gone through similar experiences before. When I was going through, it was so hard, but now I have passed them. I look back them, and I laugh at them. I talk about it. I'm just thinking, when I'm going through that, I'm going to talk about this later. I'm going to talk about this later. Remember, I think I have shared with you, one day, when I was coming back from Philadelphia, those days we were in a rest area, and the bus left. The bus left with our bag and money and passport, everything. We were stranded in the rest area. So it was, definitely it was a really big problem. We only had the telephone and try to catch the bus. Because when we were having tea, we saw that bus was moving. We just came out running, but buses ran very fast, and so we asked few people, the bus is gone, can you help us? They said, just wait for the next bus, but it will be in a few hours. But our bag and everything is in the bus. But anyway, so it's another drama. I can explain you what happened on that day. But even though it's really, anxious, I know it's anxious. I actually, I was trying to book. I was thinking it's middle of the Pennsylvania, so it's no way you can actually, I tried Uber, get a car and chase the bus, but the things were really moving, no cars, that day. But even though those things, I was with Bhante Buddha that then we were anxious, and we were not sure whether we get our bags. Most importantly, my computer, that's where all my research and everything. So anyway, even though those things are happening, my naughty mind was telling me that you can talk about this one day. Just go through it. Although this is difficult, this should be good ingredients for your talks one day.
Then therefore you have to have so many other experiences also, right? We have to wish him to have more such experience to share with us.
Anyway, actually, yeah. After a while, actually, we were really trying, and then fortunately, there's one boy actually who was traveling from New York, and then he just came, and he had a nice smile, and because we were looking at people, who to whom talk to, right? All are strangers. So he was a nice smile. So we talked to him, we explained him what happened, and the bus is going to Harrisburg. We know that he goes to Harrisburg and stay in the Harrisburg station for some time. So we were in between Philadelphia and Harrisburg. So we told him, and he said, "Okay, get into the car. I'm a New York driver." And then, of course, then he drove, past 100 miles per hour to catch the bus, yeah, and he was so happy to see real monks. When he was driving to 100 miles per hour, he was also taking selfie to send it to friends. I met monks, but anyway, so we were able to catch the bus, and actually we catch the bus and took our bags and everything. But actually, then we catch the bus. But after that, we realized that actually he's also coming to Monroville. That boy is also coming to Monroville. So instead of going through the bus, we took our bags and everything from the Harrisburg. We get into that boy's car, and we came all the way to Monroville to reach, and then Damit Mahathir came to pick us from there to here. So this is one example. Maybe not that serious, but it was, it could have been serious. But anyway, so whenever now I can think about it and laughed about it and talked about it. So in the same way, when you can think about your own difficulties that you had, in your in your past, so many difficult times you had, and it was so difficult, so dark, and you didn't know how to get out. But somehow, somehow a path, door has been opened. Some people help, and you have come out from that with your own strength or with the help of others, and now you can reflect and talk about it, and it can be enriching experience. So I try to remember that, whenever I'm going through difficulty, whenever I'm going through a challenge, or even a kind of accident like this, I remember it's not going to be the same forever. The incident is going to change, people are going to change, conditions around you are going to change, and how we feel about this is going to change. So that, at least that awareness that is going to change, though there are no signs at that time is any change, but that very awareness is can be really powerful for us to go through that. Okay, so here the term Pali term that we use for equanimity is upekha, and so I would like to, I have given a few quotes from 3 authors who wrote very nice books on Buddhist meditation. So the Sharon Salzberg, and she says upekha means balance, and its characteristic is to arrest the mind before it falls into extremes. Equanimity is a spacious stillness of the mind, a radiant calm that allows us to be present fully with all the different changing experiences that constitute our world and our life. We suffer when we cling to pleasure, gain, praise, and fame, and expect them to be always present. We instead get pain, loss, blame, disrepute. We feel that something is terribly wrong, or that we have done something wrong, and we resist what is happening in the present moment, bringing ourselves more suffering. Instead, we could try to meet whatever is arising, with a balanced mind. So that's the strength we need to develop. So I think one important technique is to be like keep the balance of our mind in these fluctuating events, even this very pleasurable, happy moments, or even unfavorable moments, is to remember that impermanence. So again, there's another story about this king who really wanted, he asked his counselors, I really want to stay focused and balanced. Can you help me a technique to do? So all the counselors, they got together. They offered him a nice ring. And he got, so what this ring can do? He says, oh, this is a magical ring. So when you put it in your finger, it will keep you balanced no matter what happens. And he didn't believe, this is a magical ring. And he said, real magic is in this ring is actually the line written in this magic, along this ring. So he read the line, the letters written on that ring. You know what was written in the ring? This shall too pass. This shall too pass. That is what is written in the ring. So he started to wear that ring. So whenever he's having a good time, I mean, even like the kingdom is prosperous, no one is spying at him, and everything is safe, and he read this too shall pass. So he don't take anything for granted. He act proactively, be cautious, and then not to misuse his power. And whenever his country is in danger and difficulty, not good enough income, maybe some threats from other countries, he also read the same thing. This shall too pass. So and so he developed this strength. This is not going to be there forever. I will face this somehow and it will change. So that's the secret how we can do it, right? Remembering that, yeah. But I think one thing I would like to get your opinion is that actually there are two images to stay strong in these kinds of situations. One image will be a strong tree, very strong tree. The other one will be a tree that will kind of flexible, yeah, flexible. I don't know what would be the best Bante. I mean, there's a story that there was an oak tree which is very strongly rooted and a very heavy trunk, and next to that oak tree was a bamboo tree, which is very thin, not too strong at all. And this oak tree, used to, joke, ridicule this bamboo tree. You are, petty thing, even little wing, little wind, you will move around, you will, move back and forth, and you have no strength. And the bamboo tree was very humble and said, okay, that's my nature. I just listen to the wind. And then there was a heavy storm one day. And then when the storm comes, of course, the bamboo tree was like moving, here and there, but the oak tree was, standing firm and ground, and say, oh, you see how strong I am, and then, but the storm get really harder and harder, stronger, and then ultimately the oak tree fell down, but not the bamboo tree. It has been, moving here and there, but, was able to bounce back. Even after the storm, the oak tree was down, but the bamboo tree come back again. So what we can learn from that, Bhante, so what we really in facing gain and losses, disrespect, fame, blame and praise, pleasure and pain. Are we going to be an oak tree or are we going to be a bamboo tree?
So is it naturally happening or do we need something to cultivate, right? In the case of the bamboo tree, it just happened, right? In our case, we have to do that.
Yeah. Maybe one thing, of course, the as a fully enlightened, fully matured, fully spiritually matured, person will be like, like an Indrakila, like a more stronger than the oak tree. The Indrakila is a stone pillar that is half is underground and half is on the top. So that could be the matured, fully enlightened being. Until we reach there, our journey to become an Indrakila is actually, of course, we'll be, shake a little bit. But I think what we have to learn is that how much we want to bend, how much we want to shake, so how long we want to stay in that mood before coming to the balance.
So these 8 conditions, bad and good, keep evolving.
Yes.
And we just sit and wait for them to change. Aren't a human being supposed to make his own destiny?
Yeah.
Or we just submit to the fate and that's it. That's what's written in my forehead.
Yeah.
That's what I get of watching for it to change. I thought we have to do something about it. Human can make his own destiny or their own destiny.
Yeah.
Not just sit and watch.
Like that farmer, you mean?
But you did go in that bus station. You look for somebody to give you a ride.
Yeah, exactly.
So you did something about it, which is good. Otherwise, if you sit for the bus to come back and carry, it will never happen.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a good point, actually. What is the level of, does the accepting this 8 condition means inactivity, right? Are we talking about indifference? I think equanimity is not indifference. I think I'm glad that you brought that point. So of course, what we had to do is, and here actually, when these things happen, there's an impact happening to our mind. So what we have to balance is actually that impact, but not our ability to do something about it, right? So
Negative impact, right?
yeah, let's say if I got so panic and so upset, and I may not have any idea what best to do at that time, right? And I may be crying, maybe I may be, I don't know, yeah. So
Let's see.
because so I think the point is actually, so of course we have to do something definitely, and you want to change a loss to a gain, we have to do something about it. But I think before we do it, we have to have some level of acceptance and some kind of mental equilibrium, and then only we get the energy to do something. So otherwise we'll be very depressed.
But the farmer didn't do anything. He just said,
Yeah. Oh, that's only one story. Yeah. He was lucky. So that's one story. But I think in our actual life, we have to look at our mind and then and balance it, and then try to do something to change it. But I think the whole point here is actually remembering that these things are going to change will give us the strength to change. And then also when things are really good, really nice, it's still remembering that these things are going to change will help us to not to be fooled by it, not to be conceited by it and prideful. Yeah.
I was gonna say, what was the name of it in the words for it in Pali? It's condition. So it's the condition phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's the nature. It's these things happen whether we like them or not.
Not, yeah. But then we have virya,
Yeah,
yeah. Like we have not we have virya sitting here, but we also have virya inside. Yeah, we have virya that to go beyond the adversaries.
And the thing is that when we discuss one point, I think there are many other teachings that we had to relate,
Yes.
and we are just focusing on one specific point.
Right
It
now,
does not deny the significance of the strength, the capacity, the dedication, all the skills, right? And the point was just understand how things, and then after that we can move, right? And movement is important, but still the first level is okay, just understand and go, right?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes we have to let it burn. I don't know if you know the story of the rising phoenix, the bird. Like you have to let everything burn. It's like life and death always taking place in your life. So
Sometimes something has to disappear in order for new thing to arise.
you have to have rebirth of life.
In this case, I think we have so many stories, even from the biography of the Buddha, like stories like Venerable Punnamantani. Right? Yeah, that means we learn them just to overcome the difficulties we have in our life. It doesn't matter at which age we are, and we have so many difficulties, right, in different times, and sometimes regarding the gain, sometimes regarding reputation, sometimes regarding the health, sometimes regarding the kids and relatives, right? Like so many things. In that case, I think this revolving never end, right?
Yeah.
And time to time we have new ways of coming manifestations, but again it comes in a different way. The important thing is whether we now whenever your example, for example, is like, if I take your example, have you got any skill after that bad experience, for example, right?
Be very timely and watchful.
You were
not to
looking
get
at
lost
the
in a
eyes, right?
discussion.
Everyone. Luckily, you had someone, right? In the next time, if you don't have anyone to help, right? And in that case, does that mean did that even gave you some new skill too? right? In addition to just understanding it, right?
Yeah. Like prepare well, right?
Prepare well, right?
Yeah.
Like be mindful means in that case, okay, because that was the reason is because you lost your mindfulness, right?
Yeah.
That's the real reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Ending point is
I'm
very
shameful to share this
right?
story.
You know, in that case, right? You know,
I share this story just to tell people, sometimes our negative experiences, our negative experiences are very negative and hard when we are going through it. But after we pass it, it becomes good ingredient, something that really we can enjoy. So even when you are going through very difficult negative times, remember that this is so hard, but one day I'll be able to talk about it and laugh about it. That's what the writers are doing, right? The writers, So even I was anxious and I was really worried whether I lose my computer, my everything is there. Or even though I was having that, even Bhante Buddha that was not panic actually. And we were all having fun. But even when my deep in my mind, somehow there's a voice saying that that's okay. You will be able to talk about it one day. So so funny.
There is a famous line in Woody Allen's movie.
Okay.
Comedy is tragedy plus time.
Tragedy plus time. Exactly. Yeah, it was a tragedy at that time. Yeah, that's a good point, right?
After some time, you can laugh about
it. Yeah. So why not we use it when we are going through tragedy? That's the point I want to bring. So when you are going through tragedy, it's not fun. It's difficult. It's painful. But if you remember that one day this can turn into comedy, I can talk about it. It gives you the strength somehow to deal with it. Yes. I think what the Buddha is these Buddhist teachings are helping us is that whenever we encounter these opposite conditions, opposite experience in our life, don't be shocked. Don't be surprised, and have prior awareness. These things are going to come anyway. I'm going to have losses. I'm going to have gains. I'm going to have disrepute. I'm going to have fame. I mean, even as monks, we have disrespect, disrepute, and
Sometimes they say dishonor.
Dishonor, honor and dishonor. Yes. So these things, going to come. So whenever these things comes and learning abilities to not to be surprised by it, to be shocked by it, knowing that, okay, 8 worldly conditions. Now it's one side. One is, I'm going through one side, but this is not going to be there forever. So maybe we do something about it, do something.
You have to.
Yeah.
You can remember the story like Purana Metang Atula, like the stanza saying like about whether we talk, people are not happy. Whether we silent, still people blame us. For example, he's saying, when we talk, people say you are very talkative. When we keep silent, people say something else. There's no end for, accusations and the defame and that's the story, right? Purana Metang Atun Nichang Ajatana Michen, Nichan Tunhi Bavina, Nichan Mitabanina.
Yes, yeah.
Like, that means this refutation, disreputation, honor, dishonor, I think, whether we like or not, just happen, right?
Yeah.
But it does not say, okay, just accept it and be there like idol, right? And we are working on it, right?
Yeah.
There's when people claim you, Ajahn Chah said, if someone calls you a dog and you turn around and there's no tail, what's the problem? You're not.
You don't have to own the blame, right?
You're not. You're not. No.
So this is something that we will. It is a work in progress. So that's why in other part you can read. Different authors has mentioned about this equanimity that we are talking here, and it's also related to resilience. These things are like skills that we develop gradually. It's a work in progress, and so therefore we have to like constantly remind ourselves these these lessons, and then whenever we are going through difficult time and good times, we have to we have to reflect that. We have to keep doing it. I think we forget this even when we're having good times. I think we tend to think that we have to remember this when we're having a bad times. But actually, Buddha said that we have to remember it when we're having good times as well as bad times. Because Buddha said that sometime, a bad time, unmindful response to bad time, good times can be even worse than our reaction to bad times. Because when you are having a good time, all the conditions are good. If you're not really mindful about its impermanent nature, we can be really misguided, and we can be really fool ourselves, and without knowing, we develop what we call mother infatuations. We become like blinded. Intoxication. We become intoxicated by our success. So then we become so arrogant. And then that's more dangerous or more harmful than going through a negative, difficult time.
Mother, right? Arrogant.
Yeah.
Intoxicant, mother.
Yes, yeah. Mother, yeah. Mother means intoxication. Yeah. Okay, so any thoughts or sharing?
It's this submission to your faith is kind of like in all religion that I read. They tell the people, the poor people, that this is your faith. This is what God gave you. You can't ask for more. And this type of ideas is implanted by bourgeois, by capitalists, who support these religious leaders to implant this thought in the mind of the poor people so they won't revolt. I didn't know Buddhism doing the same thing as Islam, Christianity, and other religion. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So
did you hear something similar to that when you?
yeah, by submitting to their faith. So I am poor. I shouldn't revolt. I shouldn't, care for my right. I just sit still, and maybe God give me something in the future.
Did we talk about fate here? We talk about 8 worldly conditions, and we didn't talk about only poverty. We also talk about prosperity.
Yeah, but that's the suffering and of all these people, the poor people. That's their destiny. That's what God gave them.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't revolt on that.
Yeah, I mean,
I should accept it. I don't fight the capitalism.
Yeah. But what we are saying here, gain and losses, disrepute and fame, blame and praise, pleasure and pain. It's not only in a social life, but also individual life. These things we are not going to talk about losses and, pain, but we are going to talk about, prosperity and, poverty, like gain and losses, disrespect and fame, blame and praise, pleasure and pain. All these things revolve in person's life. That's the point here. Is we are not submitting to anything.
Well, have you seen big factory owner, big bourgeois coming to pray in a temple? All of them poor. They're asking for change of their faith, their destiny.
Yeah. But this is about, we're here and we are not talking about the social, reformation, but giving guidance to individuals that any person's life, you go through these worldly conditions, both good and bad. We are not talking about like accepting the bad, and both bad, both positive and negative. These things revolve in our life, and then, face them, wisely. And so that's the point here. So there is an element of acceptance, definitely. Yeah, but it's not submission.
For example, if your hand gets hurt, like your right hand gets hurt, like that you had to somehow accept that, okay, it will heal and it will take some time to heal, like it won't happen. So, and you have to start changing your routine to use the left hand.
Left hand. Yeah.
Otherwise, you get stuck. So there is an element of acceptance, also an element of having to be flexible.
Flexible and
You have
remembering that, I'm not going to, lose my hand forever,
Right.
So that's helping you to like adjust and, go through that period.
if you have a headache, you're not going to have a headache forever, but you can mitigate the pain of it. You can take Tylenol,
Yeah.
but then no one likes pain, but when
Yeah.
you have the pleasure, then that's the other.
Yeah, but some kind of element of acceptance and, being with it, until, medicine works is so helpful. Otherwise, we can, panic and we can hit our head against something else and we can, blame and we can self-hurt and, and then that's going to solve anything. Yes, Brandon?
I like what you said, that it's important to always be mindful that even in times of positivity, it's important to keep that in mind that that's also temporary.
Yeah.
I'd like to just make an observation.
Yeah.
Times of prosperity in good times, quote unquote, when those times are extended beyond a normal longevity amount of time, it often breeds too much comfortability and weak-willed inaction by individuals. So I almost feel it's necessary for things to be temporary for the greater good of the whole.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
just observation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very correct. Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
also, like we may each experience pain and loss uniquely, right? So like maybe if I use that, injured your hand example, if I injured my hand, maybe that injury is what allows me to have a break from something that's been very hard to maintain in my life, right? Versus like somebody who is like wanting to use their hand, or someone who is in a position of like they are very wealthy or they're successful by somebody else's standard. That seems like a goal that you want to reach or a place that you would want to be, but actually we don't know what their experience of gain or loss is in their own life. So
Yeah. So
very individual.
So not always be influenced by the social, criteria, right?
Right.
Expectations, social expectations, right? Yeah.
Right.
That's true. Okay, so let's have that, ring or this shall too pass. We actually had the bracelet, which says that this shall too pass. I don't know whether we have it anymore. Yeah, in our book in our bookshop. Yeah. Do we have it, that same thing or?
Yeah, we should have.
That will help us. So, with that, I really appreciate your participation. So let's remember these eight worldly conditions. Can you remember that? What are those 8 worldly conditions? Gain and losses, fame and disrepute.
Dishonor.
Yes, dishonor, and praise and blame, and pleasure and pain. Yeah. So when you get blames, when you get praises, and those will be very common experience we are having. So always remember that those praises are not going to be there forever. So don't take, don't be, fooled by it. Don't try to, soothe our ego, just be humble. And whenever you get blames, remember that this is how, people, see it, and it may not necessarily be part of our mistake. If it's a part of mistake, we should be humble enough to look at it and just move through it, right? Yeah.
Darren, you can tell the story that Buddha's statement saying, be careful more when you gain, right? Gains are more dangerous than the
Losses, yeah.
Right. And he was careful even about the gains of the food. And when you get more food, be careful more because you are going to be intoxicated by gaining. And therefore, as he suggested correctly, Buddha said, okay, we can understand the reality when we lose, but we don't know, right, reality when we get things. And therefore, that is also a very important point for us to be careful. And when we have good health, we are proud, right? when you are at young, right? We are proud. I mean, we feel it biologically. We are strong. So therefore, Buddha's case, it is not just saying, not only at the point of we lose, even at the point of we gain. Right? I think that is where we lose.
We have to have
When
wisdom.
we get elated, right? Then, yeah.
The one
Yes.
thing I always think about and helps me with, especially with the pain, is that Buddha was in a lot of pain at the end of his life because of his back pain. And that he was someone who didn't suffer anymore because of the pain.
Yeah.
His mind was no suffering, but the body, or unfortunately, are in a body
Yeah.
that feels pain.
Okay, so with that, we will conclude the session. We will do a short meditation, and in the middle, we will do our blessing chant while we are in meditation. Okay, so would you like to stand up for a moment to relax your legs and refresh before you sit down? Okay, so try to balance your posture in this standing posture. Give equal weight to your both feet. Maybe you can spread your feet a little bit apart. And then find the balanced posture, not leaning to one foot, but just balancing your weight, feeling the weight in your both feet. And in this posture, let us take a very slow, gentle, long in-breath, allowing more air go into your lungs, filling your lungs with fresh air. And release that breath very slowly, little by little, relaxing your chest and the belly. Take few more such long, deep in-breaths. With each out breath, we relax our body, loosen the muscles of the body. So with that, let us now sit down, gradually, slowly, paying attention to the every sensation we may have. Let us settle our mind. I will ring this bell to settle your mind, and listen to the sound of the bell. And then we will settle our mind. We try to maintain our equanimous mind for a few minutes until we start the chanting. With this settled mind, observe different conditions available to us even right now. There are favorable conditions and there are unfavorable conditions. Even in our body, we can have comfortable sensations and we can have uncomfortable sensations. Let us try to observe them. When we have comfortable sensations, let us acknowledge their agreeableness, their comfort, but try not to wish to have it more or to develop craving for more such sensations. Just acknowledging, accepting, and move ahead. Wherever places you have any uncomfortable sensations, observe them and notice them. Acknowledge the discomfort. But let us try to develop equanimous mind, not developing resentment or resistance towards it, and simply accepting as sensations. Knowing that every time favorable conditions are replaced by unfavorable conditions, and those unfavorable conditions are also in turn replaced by favorable conditions. Things are rolling like a big wheel. Let us maintain the balance of the mind, accepting whatever conditions as they are, and not to be driven by them, not to be a victim to them, but always maintaining a mental state above them. Equanimity comes from looking over to deeper understanding of the situation. Understand the situation not within it, but understand the situation from outside of it. Let us maintain this equanimity whenever possible. Let us bring our mind to equanimity whenever possible, remembering the impermanence, fleeting nature of every experience, every condition in life. Let us stay in this peaceful, equanimous mind, and we will do a chant wishing you healing, wishing you good health, wishing you peace and tranquility in your mind. May you all receive these blessings. May you all be blessed with good health. May the blessings of the great compassion of the Buddha be with you. May the blessings of the loving kindness of all the enlightened monks be with you. By the power of these blessings, may you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be peaceful. Mahakaruniko nato hitaya sabbapāninam puretva parami sabba patto sangbodhi muttamang etena sacca vajjena hotu te jaya mangalang jayanto bodhiyamuli sakkyanang nandi vaddano evaṃ tuyya jayo tu jaya sunso jaya mangalang sakkatva buddharatana osadang uttamang varang hitang deva manusana buddha tejena sottina nasaṃ tu paddava sabbe dukkha upasamintu te sakkatva dhammaratana osadang uttamang varang ahuniyang vahuniya sanghate jena sotti nanas santu padeva sabbe Vayaroga upasamintu te sakkatva sangharatana osadang uttamang varang ahuniyang pahuniya sanghate jena sotti nanas santu padeva sabbe Roga upasamintu te yang kinciratenang loke vijjati vividha puturatenang buddha samannati tasma sotti bhavantu te yang kinciratenang loke vijjati vividha puturatenang dhamma samannati tasma sotti bhavantu te yang kinciratenang loke vijjati vividha puturatenang sangha samannati tasma sotti bhavantu te natti me saranang anyang buddho me saranang varam etena sacca vajjena hotu te jaya mangalang natti me saranang anyang Dhammo me saranang varang etena sacca vajjena hotu te jaya mangalang natti me saranang anyang sangho me saranang varang etena sacca vajjena hotu te jaya mangalang sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhe digayuko bhavatu sabba mangala rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangala rakkantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangala rakkantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Gently put your palms together. With deep gratitude, let us say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you all for joining today, and I also want to thank everyone who joined our YouTube. Thank you, Adrian, for your nice comments, and also thank you, Nancy, for your comments, and appreciate everyone's participation. We look forward to see you again. Yeah. Thank you. Those who like to have a blessing string and come, but after the blessing string, I'm also going to show some of the photos of my pilgrimage. If you like to stay, you can stay. Thank you. Anyways. Okay, so please come for blessing strings. You got that?